Hey folks, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to go do the closeout for July in my Budget by Paycheck workbook. I'm also going to show you an Excel spreadsheet that I use when I close out. I believe I've shared it before, but I just wanted to share it again just in case someone else might have an interest in creating it, just to help them out as they're closing out. So let's just grab our glasses and get right to it. And as a reminder, I started this channel as a helper for myself so that I can prepare for retirement. I wanted to get a handle on what my actual expenses were so that when we're performing analysis on whether or not I can retire in 2 years, we're performing an analysis based on real numbers and not on just my imagination of what I think I'm spending and what I think I need. So in my last video, I talked about the meeting I had with the financial advisor and how I was able to recalculate what my actual needs were based on what was happening in this workbook. So it gave me a better picture. I actually went up a little bit based on what I'm actually seeing, but it was only a couple $1,000s a year. And after they did the adjustments to actually show what I was contributing every year, which I've also noted is like $22,000 a year going into retirement funds, they actually said I was spot on for retirement in a few years. So again, all of this was to help me track all of that, get my headspace right, and have some accountability to make sure that I stay on track to get things done, because I also had some major debt when I first started doing this. I did pay off that debt, but of course a few days later I have more debt, but you know, these things happen. So I think actually the first thing I want to do is go ahead and show you that spreadsheet. And this is what I use when I'm performing my end of the month calculations to put my numbers in. So let me go grab that for you and just talk a little bit about what this is. So hopefully you guys can see this. It does look like you can. What I do is, for my checking account, I go ahead and list all of the expenses that are listed in there. I also list what I put on my credit card. I've mentioned before that I want to know what my actual spending is, and that includes what I'm putting on the credit card because, you know, obviously I'm going to have to pay that off at some point. So what this does is, and I will showcase it a little bit later in my Budget by Paycheck workbook, it allows me to show what my true expenses are in a month, because ultimately we don't use a credit card. Ultimately I won't use a credit card. I'll just transition into just straight cash, and that'll be when I have my sinking funds all set up and I don't have to put something on a credit card just to pay it off over a few months. You know, like things like this, when I have like a almost $8,000 bill that pops up. Hopefully I'll eventually have sinking funds to where I don't have to put it on a card and then just try and figure out how I'm going to pay for it. But this just groups it all by these are all of my categories that I have, and I just break them down so that when I'm doing my numbers, I don't have to keep adding and re-adding to get my numbers right. This is my income. This is how much debt I've paid in the month, including the total. And again, all of this just makes it easier for me to spot when I have a problem, when things aren't adding up. And this is how I do that. So let me transition back into my phone, and we'll go ahead and get into the workbook. So we're going into July. We're just going to do the closeout today, and I will likely do a check-in for August tomorrow. Okay, so I did wrap up the numbers on this. I had failed to put all of these numbers in during the first paycheck, but I got those put in. And then this is the second paycheck. I wasn't able to put in the full $1,000 like I was hoping because I did have a couple of expenses. And honestly, there were expenses I didn't really need to put money into, but um, here we are. So I put 940 in. All of my other expenses were pretty spot on. I did miscalculate, of course, a couple of things over here. This was the funds that I put in to handle my fees and my retirement funds that are managed, and that is like that should cover everything that I need to manage those fees in a typical year. So just added that. I just forgot that it was coming. I knew I do this every year at the same time, and I just forgot that it was coming. And so maybe what I need to do is go ahead and add that to my yearly expenses. Um, so if I can remember to do that later, I will take care of that. I didn't have any sinking funds because of that debt that I incurred, and I'm going to focus on that solely until it's paid off, and I'm making good headway on that. But clearly, putting $940 on debt's nothing to sneeze at. I have finished out this. I did end the month with 36 cents. I do try and do like the zero-based budget where everything has a purpose. And even if I have $36 or $360 moving over to the next month, even if it's going to the next month, that's still its purpose. It's moving on as a forward into my account to handle maybe something else that may be coming up in the next cycle. But in this case, I just went ahead and put all of it in there, and it is going to make my August tight. The first 2 weeks, that first paycheck, I've talked about that, is usually pretty tight. So only pushing over 36 cents is going to make the first part of the month a little sticky. But as long as I'll do that because I mentioned that I was doing a no spend in August. As long as I can handle that, I think we're in good shape. So, or as long as I actually follow through, not handle it, because yeah. U.S. Bank ended at 4,695, and the highest I had in here was 8,171. So I think I made reasonably good progress considering what I put on there, and hopefully, I'll be able to pay this off a little bit quicker than I did the last debt. The sinking funds or the savings account is at 157. I need it to be 130 something for the Amazon Prime membership at the end of next month, and I always put $50 as an automatic transfer at the beginning of the month, so you'll see this in the August check-in that did go in, and I have ample funds to pay for that by the end of the month. I will not be adding much to savings until that debt's done. Here is the debt payment plan and what I've made so far. I did have a reward in my credit card statement, so I went ahead and put that in there. It was $89. I had the $940 and the $2,500, which meant I put a total of $3,529 into debt. I did go ahead and check my net worth tracker, and things are looking okay. There were several months in a row where my funds were dropping significantly, and it was really concerning because, again, I'm trying to retire in just 2 to 3 years, and it was looking increasingly doubtful that I could even retire in 5 years. But it seems like things are bouncing back. The stock market is actually performing fairly well, all things considered, and that gets me on target to be where I need to be. I do have the debt again, but that will slowly go down. It will not increase at all every month. It'll just continue to go down and down. I do add my car and my home in there, and at the end of the day, these are not very reliable for actually using them as retirement funds. I suppose I could sell my home, but that's going to be end of life kind of thing. That will be when it is necessary for me to be in some type of home. Maybe I sell my home or do something to where I use the funds for that. But hopefully I'll never come to that. Based on my calculation, I don't think I would ever have to sell my home in order to pay for long-term care. I think it would have to be something catastrophic for that to happen. But it's there just in case I need it. So let's go ahead and look at the breakdown. I did have some overages, but I also had a few underages. So on the whole, it went okay, with some obvious exceptions, being that when I calculated sort of what I thought it was going to be to fix that electrical issue in the basement, it was significantly more. So um, I think even with that considered, that the month went fairly well, and I did have a pet care a visit that I thought was going to be a small visit, but it ended up being a more um, thorough visit, so it cost a little bit more. But otherwise, all of the numbers looked pretty much as expected. And then this was that miscellaneous fee that I should have remembered I had for um, 350 to cover the yearly expenses for my managed funds. So it looks good, and for the first time ever, what is actually on my budget breakdown. This is awesome because I don't think that's happened. It's always been off by some weird amount that I just can't be bothered to go look for. Um, but yeah, that was excellent. So then let's go back then and take a peek at the yearly spending. So if we look at how things have gone over the year, of course, my utilities are, let's see, going down. They went up a little bit during the cold months, and now they're going down again. I have the expectation that they'll go down a little bit more, but not much. I haven't had run the I have not run the heater in, I don't even know. It's been a while. So, fuel prices are going up. So, but I have that um, for my electric bill. I have it set up to where it looks at the last 12 months and it gives me the average. So if it does go up, it'll go up gradually throughout the year. It won't just be like one big jump. So at least there's that. If the cost of cooling my home goes up, it'll just go up slowly over time. And that's what it's been doing for years. It's just been going up and up and up. Because I can remember, it's not been that long ago, several years ago, where my electric bill was like $100. Yeah, $100. It's now over 200. So I have the expectation based on, what I have heard in the news and um, that it'll go up again. So it's fine. Everything else is looking good. Again, it's just like I'm tracking these, and what I did was before I met my financial advisor, I did some averages on some of these numbers and gave a little bit better number for them on what I might need every month. So, that's not what I told them because I added some extra things that I did not include in this number. Hopefully by the time I retire, I won't be doing long-term savings. I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing that I thought I might try to do, but I don't think I'll be able to, is pay off my mortgage. I don't think I'm going to be done by the time I retire. It'll probably be a couple years before I finish that off. And I think I added that in sort of after the fact, I think I told them it was 39 or something like that. Um, and as the years go by, I'll just continue to adjust this and tell them a different number once I know. So that pretty much wraps it up for July. Went okay, all things considered, with that electric bill coming in, but you know, being able to pull it down. How much was that? Did I pay it off again? Numbers don't stay in my head. $3,500, yeah. So to incur $8,000 in debt, but then pay off $3,500. I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. So, um, in any case, my next video will probably be this weekend, and it's just going to be a quick check-in for August. It should be either shortly after this one today, but probably more likely tomorrow. So I'll see you then.